And now we've got to talk about the state of California, which just took a huge step forward in addressing its huge immigration crisis, its huge homelessness problem, its problem with drug overdoses, its housing affordability crisis, and all that will soon be resolved because of this major move they just announced. Just kidding. They just banned plastic bags at the grocery store? Let's check out some local news coverage.
You won't be hearing the question paper or plastic for much longer as Governor Newsom signs a bill banning plastic shopping bags at grocery stores. It may sound like deja vu because the state already banned thin plastic shopping bags in supermarkets and other stores. They were replaced with thicker bags that were supposedly reusable and recyclable. But lawmakers say that ban didn't reduce the overall plastic use, going from 8 pounds per person in 2004 to 11 pounds in 2021.
Unsurprisingly, people were just not really reusing these. So we actually did a survey where we stood outside grocery stores and counted how many people walked into the store with one of these bags to reuse them. And we found only 2% of the people we counted actually brought one of these bags back.
Law goes into effect in 2026.
So I find this remarkable on a couple of levels. One is that California is facing so many different crises, whether it's the freaking out of control wildfires, the homelessness issue, drug overdoses, or the insane cost of housing, all these things that are leading people to increasingly flee the state in droves. And this is what the government is hard at work on, banning plastic bags. I mean, it just seems like a total misplacement of priorities to me. But then even in its own right, it's one of those ideas that sounds good on the surface, but is often so rife with unintended consequences that it ends up doing far more harm than good. And that happens all the time when the government tries to micromanage our lives, which are actually very complicated, and they're not very good at doing so. So these plastic bag bans in other states have failed, and the research into them shows that they often harm the environment more than they help. A 2019 NPR article explains all the ways that these bans backfire, and it's titled, "Are Plastic Bag Bans Garbage?" It pointed out one way in which these bans backfired, which is that many people had reused the plastic bags they got at the grocery store for things like picking up dog poop or lining trash bins, and they still needed bags. So when they banned the the plastic bags, the sale of other forms of plastic bags, like 4-gallon bags and trash bags, absolutely skyrocketed. They quoted one expert who said that about 30% of the plastic that was eliminated by the ban comes back in the form of thicker garbage bags. And then on top of that, cities that banned plastic bags saw a surge in the use of paper bags, which she estimates resulted in about 80 million pounds of extra paper trash per year. And what's ironic about that is a lot of research has shown that paper bags are actually far worse for the environment than plastic bags. As this NPR article reads, a bunch of studies find that paper bags are actually worse for the environment. They require cutting down and processing trees, which involves lots of water, toxic chemicals, fuel, and heavy machinery. While paper is biodegradable and avoids some of the problems of plastic, the huge increase of paper, together with the uptick in plastic trash bags, means banning plastic shopping bags increases greenhouse gas emissions. That said, these bans do reduce non-biodegradable litter. Now, what about those tote bags that people buy and that they reuse to save the environment and show how conscious they are? Yeah, those in most cases turn out to be worse for the environment than plain old plastic bags too. As NPR reports, a 2011 study by the UK government found that a person would have to reuse a cotton tote bag 131 times before it was better for climate change than using a plastic grocery bag once. The Danish government recently did a study that took into account environmental impacts beyond simply greenhouse gas emissions, including water use, damage to ecosystems, and air pollution. These factors make cloth bags even worse. They estimate you would have to use an organic cotton bag 20,000 times more than a plastic grocery bag to make using it better for the environment. And for more proof of how these bans can backfire, just look at New Jersey. After they banned plastic bags, their plastic consumption overall actually tripled, according to USA Today. All in all, these stories really do sum up everything that's wrong with the modern nanny state, big government approach to environmental regulation. Obviously, preserving our environment and taking care of the world we live in and rely on to survive is important and necessary. But when the government tries to micromanage it with regulations that are coming down to our everyday choices and things like plastic bags, it often backfires because these supply chains and systems that go behind and go into all these things are so intricate and complex, and the legislators can't possibly anticipate all the unintended consequences that will inevitably entail when they meddle in these things and try to micromanage the minute details of our lives. I know it's a big ask, but we need our governments to have some degree of humility about the limits of their own capabilities and to not try to micromanage everything in this way that just always seems to backfire. But they don't care. They'll get the virtue signaling and the pats on the back from the media and from environmental lobbyists and all these people who will give them money for the next campaign or whatever. And if plastic consumption actually goes up, who cares? If carbon emissions actually go up, they don't really care that much because that's not actually what any of this is really about. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below.